But Daniel, just how are you as a person?
Do you want me to list qualities about myself, or?
No, I want to do like those, like, I don't know, like, are you okay day? Is that a thing still?
Yeah. I'm good. Yeah. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
How are
good.
you?
I'm pretty good. I
Yeah?
think, as good as
You think?
I can really be. Yeah.
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 Have to
I am good.
double check that.
Those things are always sort of weird because you never know if like the person's like answering it seriously. So you go out of your way to say it and ask, and then you sort of like, but I don't know if I got an answer or not. But that was a genuine answer, I promise. Are you going to promise that was a genuine answer?
Yes.
Oh, good.
I'm not. I mean, I'm doing as well as I can when mentally preparing to move to a different country and leave everything behind. So,
Very well put. Very well put.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're actually here, believe it or not, to talk about. We decided we're going to talk about Wolverine, the upcoming.
Yes.
I guess it's called Marvel's Wolverine. They always do that with their branding.
We're talking about I thought we were talking about, like, you know how they did that Ancestors game with all the chimpanzees?
Do
you remember that?
Yeah. What was that called?
It was called Ancestors. I thought we were talking about a game where you play as a literal Wolverine, like the animal.
Got it. No.
Oh, we're talking about the Marvels one. Okay, I get you.
Believe it or not, that's why they actually put the Marvels branding at the front of it. So when people say Spider-Man PS4, they're like, what the hell is that? But then when you say Marvel Spider-Man PS4, it's like,
okay. Yeah.
It all makes sense.
Confusion dispersed. Okay.
But other than Marvel's Wolverine, I assume the game will end up being known as Wolverine PS5. Probably,
yes.
Maybe for those, a bit more in the loop, Insomniac's Wolverine. If we want to be hip about it.
Yes.
Which we do. So so this game was revealed, of course, at the September PlayStation Showcase, which we covered very comprehensively and amazingly, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, sure. Not the term I'd use, but sure.
It's the term I use, all right? I don't,
sure.
No shortage of self-confidence here. And we got it revealed, of course, through the CG trailer.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. I mean, we talked about that there. We don't need it. The CG trailer, I don't know what to make that the focus of this in any capacity. No. It's just a bar, and it's just Wolverine.
Well, I think it's a good... not development, just a good, it gives you a sense of the tone of the game. How it's not like Spider-Man, where that's a little more lighthearted. It's going to be more violent, more grounded. As grounded as you can get as someone with a metal skeleton and claws that can't die. But I think it'll be a stark contrast to Spider-Man. Although Spider-Man 2 is said to be dark. But who knows? We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah. We'll have to do another one on that probably. But,
sure.
I mean, I guess you'd call that CG trailer, you'd call it a mood setter, It's like, here's the vibe that we're putting out here.
Yeah, I was trying my hardest to not say vibe. I hate that word. I hate it.
I love it so much. You know what? I feel like we're just not meant to do this together, the word vibe is one of my favorites, probably just because of the castle, to be honest.
I don't vibe with it that much.
Yeah, fair enough.
I just regurgitated in my... Okay, moving on.
But other than the CG trailer, I mean, we know, of course, that it's a single-player game. We're not having none of this, oh, by the way, guys, remember when they originally teased the Avengers Crystal Dynamics game and it wasn't clear what it was, and they're just like has the CG, and it's like, wow, are they doing like an Avengers single player narrative? And I mean, I guess they sort of technically did, but we didn't expect it to be what it became.
The difference with Wolverine is it's not called Wolverine subtitle and the X-Men like that cartoon, which was actually pretty good.
Okay.
Like with the Avengers, you kind of get the idea that there could be some co-op aspects.
That's fair.
But you can't play as Wolverine 2, like a clone, like the Logan movie. Although, who knows? Probably, maybe. Don't know.
Yeah, no.
But I feel like
that sounds terrible.
Yeah. but like you know what you're getting with this. With the Avengers Project, it was oh god, I remember when it was called the Avengers Project.
Yeah.
That was very vague, but I think it's easy to understand what they're going for with the Wolverine game. I don't think there's any confusion there.
It's a single player game. It's developed, of course, by Insomniac, our favourites. Probably,
Yes.
I mean, it's got to be top 3 devs in the world. Like, are they? They're probably your number one, right?
I don't really know. I don't have a ranking for game developers.
Might have to do that too. That's a good idea.
Maybe. Maybe. But the thing I was going to say is, with the Spider-Man 2 reveal trailer, people were saying, or people were hoping, it'd be co-op with player 1 as Peter and player 2 as Miles, until Insomniac shut that down with the confirmation that it's single player. And that they didn't really have to confirm that Wolverine is single player, just because how, like I said, it's being advertised through the CG trailer. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and it's being developed by the Miles Morales team.
Yeah.
Which the creative director, of course, is Brian
Horton. Yes.
You say like, oh yeah, Brian. You know Brian, like we're all mates.
Yeah.
I know Brian super well. I've listened to interviews with Brian, so I'm like best friends with him, pretty much. But you know what you're getting in terms of what their expertise are, I guess. But one of the main, in terms of the main things to take away from the very limited information we have, is that it's a full-sized game. Someone asked, I looked this up. Someone asked him on Twitter, I think, or whatever, if it was going to be someone said if it's going to be a Miles Morales-sized game, and he responded being it's a full-sized game with a mature tone, which I assume gets...
So who knows what that entails? A full-sized game.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a fair question.
That is the most vague you can get. Because The Last of Us 2 is a full-sized game, and that's not exactly in the same vein as Miles Morales. So, who knows?
Daniel, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a full-sized game, if you know what I mean.
That is more than full. That is, like, chock full, I'd say.
It's an obese game, you know what I mean?
That is, morbidly obese.
So, full-sized game, I mean, where do you feel it would sort of come in size-wise with that in mind? And, we're going to talk about the structure of it and if it's going to be open world and stuff, but just, I don't know, do you see this being like him comparing it to Miles, saying it's bigger than Miles? Miles is what, like 5 hours maybe? So I think...
It's a spin-off game. It's like Uncharted Lost Legacy. It's not a big project. But Wolverine isn't a spin-off game. So I'd assume it'd be... If it's linear, I can see it being like 2018 Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Was that game long? I know it was separated into 2 chunks with the Mr. Negative stuff and the Sinister Six stuff.
I feel like if you mainline that game, it's like 8 hours.
Yeah.
I personally sort of see this game falling into the 12-hour range. That's sort of where I see it.
Like you said, if you were to mainline it, 8 hours.
No, I totally agree. I'm very interested in how the game's going to play out like that. I strongly believe that the game's going to be structured in a sort of Ratchet and Clank. And I guess, like Ratchet and Clank obviously being like a cartoony game, I guess the best comparison from a mature standpoint is God of War. In terms of it being, they both have the similarities of they're sort of open hub areas, that sort of you play through linearly, but you sort of can backtrack to, and there's collectibles in them, and there's side quests that are present still, So it's not a Naughty Dog linear situation where it's literally just like a path. So it's a bit more open than that, but they're not open world games by any means. So it's sort of like sometimes people call God of War 2018 open world, and I just want to like jump through the screen. It's like it's really not. It's really not.
Yeah. Although the Midgard hub is relatively open.
No, it's not
open
though,
to
is it?
explore, but like
Yeah, it's like sure, but then like everywhere you go, you're just following pathways that sort of like interlink. Like
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
open world, you know what I mean? You don't like
No.
jump on your horse and like
Like it's yeah, like Red Dead Redemption 2. There's bits of the world where there's nothing in it. Like that's in my mind what makes up an open world. Like you can go anywhere and some spots have nothing in it and some spots have stuff worthwhile to go.
Insomniac said on the PlayStation blog, in the vein of our Spider-Man games, our goal here is to not only respect the DNA of what makes the character so popular, but also look for opportunities to make it feel fresh and truly reflect the Insomniac spirit. Marvel's Wolverine, there you go, they call it Marvel's Wolverine, boasts an emotional narrative and cutting-edge gameplay. Right.
Is that a
Now,
pun?
it's definitely a pun, right? Yeah,
Cool.
I was about to say that. I was about to...
That's gotta be a pun.
But in terms of that, though, like I don't know, does hearing for me, like I don't love the character, but I like the character, I guess. But hearing emotional narrative, that's what I want to hear from this. Like I want to get connected to a new version of Wolverine I've never seen before that is well written, that's well acted, and that I can relate to in some way, and that tells a cool story. Like that's what I want to get from this.
Sure, that all sounds great and whatever. But we better get a 5'7" or 5'5", whatever height he is in the comics. We better get a manlet Wolverine, or I'm gonna riot. I don't want a Hugh Jackman Wolverine. I want like a Smurf Wolverine that is just a ball of rage. No, he's smaller than he's shorter than Spider-Man in like every appearance except the movies.
I mean, I guess it sort of relates to whether or how open it's going to be, but like, how much do you foresee this game sort of taking on things like skill tree and perks and that? Because with Spider-Man, Insomniac followed a pretty standard formula with that of having the skill tree. The gadgets were kind of, I don't know, those gadget upgrades were okay.
I never used the gadgets, honestly. I just used the web shooters and the impact web, and that's about it.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, a lot of games fall into the trap, I think, of like having too much gadgets that don't really do much,
Yeah.
And the same goes for perks and stuff, where it's like, spend a perk point on, you're like level 48, spend a perk point on this thing that I don't really give a shit about. That's sort of something I'd like to avoid. But I don't know, so it's interesting. I know Ratchet and Clank has the thing where they upgrade weapons. That's sort of their deal. So it's tricky. I don't know how they really balance this. If you're Wolverine, and you're friggin' using your claws, it's like, is it just going to be a skill tree with?
It's definitely not going to be called skills. It's going to be called mutations. I'm willing to bet my life savings on that.
Yeah, I would too, actually, to be fair.
I wonder if they're going to... Because I know in the X-Men Origins Wolverine game, they went to before, like the... Well, I guess it was Origins, so it makes sense. Like how they went before the adamantium transplant. But I doubt they'd do that. Because I was thinking maybe they could go with the skill tree from that, but that just seems dumb. I don't really know how you could level him up. Unless, like, RPG it and go, like, 0.7% increase to healing speed. Or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But I really don't see that happening.
Neither. Yeah, that's the weird thing about it. When you're not using... I don't see this being a game where, unlike other Insomniac games, where, like, you hold R1 and, like, the weapon wheel comes up. Like, I don't see it. So it's interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. In that sense, not in terms of the weapons, obviously, and, crafting, but I feel like they might follow a similar upgrade sort of deal to The Last of Us in terms of it being like a much more streamlined, simplified upgrading process where, like in the Last of Us Part 2, there are perk points and you are getting perks. Like you're getting these stat boosts and things that are pretty traditional in, that are effectively is a skill tree. But it's quite simple. It's like, it's straight down, there's very limited options. Each sort of point makes quite a significant impact on your gameplay. I sort of see them taking a streamlined approach like that, I think, as opposed to going all out.
One thing I would like to see would be unarmed or unclawed combat. That'd be pretty neater, I think.
Unclawed.
Unclawed. Sheathed combat, I guess.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the X-Men Origins Wolverine game, which, by the way, I'm just going to say is like the only other Wolverine game I know of. I'm sure there's like a SNES one or like a platforming one that's completely 8-bit.
Wolverine on the Atari 2600 was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny you brought up X-Men Origins Wolverine. Like, that's a game, you've played that, have you? Or do you mean you're just aware of it?
No, I played a small bit of it on the PS3 at a friend's house.
Got it. Okay. Because I was gonna bring it up anyway, coincidentally. I didn't know you played it. It's great you've played it because it's apparently, I've never played it, but it's apparently actually well-liked, which is bizarre for like a movie tie-in game.
It's one of the, or it might be the best, movie tie-in games, or at least for Marvel. I know most of those are pretty bad.
It's an arcade slasher. I looked at gameplay on YouTube. It's combo based. It sort of has that isometric viewpoint that sort of further, the camera's quite far back from the character. And in some respects, I actually saw comparisons to what they ended up doing with Spider-Man, I assume coincidentally.
Yeah.
So, like, how does that sound to you? How similar or different do you want that to feel in when they take on something like this? Like, I assume we don't just want Spider-Man but Wolverine, you know?
Well, like, the thing about Spider-Man was the combat was supposed to be very floaty. Like, you could literally beat people up mid-air. So I think the combat is going to be way more grounded.
I think that, don't get me wrong, I think there are going to be combos. I think there are, there's going to be your fast and your strong attacks and all that shit, of course. But in terms of how it's presented, I think the camera being sort of more in a God of War's place as opposed to a Spider-Man place makes the combat feel very different. And I think they're going to want to, they keep talking about it being a grounded, mature story, that sort of thing, a personal journey, all those buzzwords they're using. I think that screams a sort of over the shoulder, or as over the shoulder as you can get with that sort of action. I think that's the approach they want to take, because I think it's neat that X-Men Origins is actually a liked game. I think Raven made that game, which is interesting. It's crazy. That's awesome. But I think it's cool that game's well liked. I don't see them wanting to look at that and go, let's do that. Like, I think they want to do something different. Going back to the story a little bit, I know it's going to be written by Walt Williams. I don't know if you're familiar with Walt Williams, Daniel, but he wrote 2012's Spec Ops: The Line. Is this a game you're familiar with?
No, I am not.
Okay. It's essentially like, it's a game that, it's never been accessible for me to play, but it's so as a result, it's a game that's been spoiled for me, but it's sort of like, it's a very well-regarded narrative game that sort of, like, it presents, if you were to look at the cover of this game, and even just by me telling you the name Spec Ops, like, it presents as just a generic bro shooter, third-person campaign.
Okay.
It presents that way. Sorry? Not
like Call of Duty or anything?
Well, it presents that way, yes, but...
Okay.
But like, when you play it, it's sort of... It's self-aware and it like tricks you, sort of like, it's not really what the game. It's not really what the game is, which is, I think, is really cool.
So it pulls a bait and switch.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, and it sort of acts as a commentary on the bro shooter, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a game I've wanted to check out, even though it's been spoiled for me. But anyway, that game is sort of like it's sort of got a twist narrative, and it's quite nuts in that respect, I guess. So, I mean, I just wanted to throw that out there. I don't think Wolverine's necessarily going to, like, you're going to get into Wolverine and you're going to be, like, getting these incredible plot twists necessarily. But I just want to...
You could. It's possible.
Not in terms of, like, I don't think, it's going to turn into... The game's going to turn into something else, but...
Oh, like false advertising or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, not false advertising, just... I think distraction advertising or something.
Yeah, 100%. But
misleading.
I just wanted to throw it out there that there's a very capable writing team on this game. So we can expect, within the confines of a Wolverine story, of course, I think we can expect something really solid. But, I mean, the biggest question I've been dying to ask you today is, and there's only one correct answer, of course. Who will play
Okay.
Wolverine in Insomniac's universe?
Steve Bloom?
Oh, that'd be cool.
Who were you thinking? Danny DeVito?
Oh, it's going to be Troy Baker.
Not Nolan North?
I mean, he's like a close second.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No,
Okay.
no. In all seriousness, I do. Just because, Troy Baker plays every video game character.
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy.
I had to. Sure.
But no, I don't. I don't actually think. No, I think Steve Bloom would be good. Is he? I assume he plays him in the cartoons. Is that accurate?
He's played Wolverine multiple times. I would like to see
Got
a
it.
new voice actor tackle the role, though.
I think, had Yuri played Spider-Man before he played him in?
He played him in like he played him in like a mobile game or something, I think. He played him once, and it was a very small project.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see them taking on someone, because keep in mind, this isn't just a voice actor. Like, you're getting someone in for mocap to embody this character. So I see them taking on someone that maybe we haven't heard of, or if it is someone we've heard of, maybe I don't think it's going to be on the level of like a Troy Baker or someone, which I'm glad.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, like, don't get me wrong, I love Troy Baker. Troy, I know you're listening. I love you very much, but maybe don't be in every game.
No, the game. I just remember the game that Yuri voices Spider-Man in is a mobile game called Spider-Man Unlimited, and it's like a temple run type game. I played the hell out of that.
That's hilarious, dude. Yuri, that was his audition, and from there they just knew that he's going to be the best Spider-Man of all time from the temple run game.
You know what is incredibly interesting? Do you know the prototype game series? Like the super gory. It could follow that route, like where it's just super gory. Although that's like the only similarity. In the second game, one of the like there's random military enemies that just wander around. There are multiple voice lines from Yuri Lowenthal just voicing random military dudes, like that pop up once every like 15 minutes.
Oh.
That is like the smallest role he's ever taken, and it surprised the hell out of me when I heard that like a couple of years ago.
That's cool.
I know. That was very random, but yeah, hopefully a smaller actor takes on the role, a new actor. Or even though I'd love to see Steve Bloom take it on or take it back on again, I don't know. I'm happy with either. Just don't cast Troy Baker, please.
I hope.
Nice.
I hope it's a smaller actor, both figuratively and literally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I hope. I think this game is definitely going to be in the same universe as Spider-Man PS4. Like, I think there's no reason it shouldn't be, in terms of like they're already establishing certain Marvel characters being in that universe. But I don't know I don't think there's going to be any direct crossover or anything. I don't think there's going to be some sort of team up or anything. I wouldn't want to see that anyway. I don't think.
Well, two things about that. One relating to the universe and two relating to the story. One is that it's definitely taking place in the same universe, because in the CGI trailer, there's a license plate to the left of him that has the same like universe number, like how the main comics Earth is Earth 616. It's like Earth blank without the Earth, just on a license plate. So they're in the same universe.
Cool.
And two,
that's great.
There's another license plate to the right of him, which is like HLK, blah, 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 I can't remember, which is the first appearance of Wolverine where he fought Hulk. So there could be a Hulk boss fight in there somewhere. Who knows? But I really hope they don't take the God of War and Last of Us approach where you're looking after a child. Like, I really...
That's the PlayStation Studios formula. What do you mean?
Yeah. Looking after young... what's the girl from Logan? X23, I believe.
Is that? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wolverine's been there, done that. Like, I don't know about that. It's sort of well trodden ground, isn't that the phrase? Trodden. I've got two rapid fire questions to end this discussion for you, Daniel.
Sure.
And I want you to, and they're rapid fire, all right? So I don't want any tangents, I don't want any overthinking.
All right.
I just want you to answer the question within seconds, all right? You ready for
Okay.
this? When do you expect to see gameplay?
Okay, well, first of all, I'm going to go on a tangent. No, gameplay, seeing how it was a CGI trailer, probably around the release time of Spider-Man 2. So 2023, sometime then. Maybe 2022 if we're lucky.
I totally agree with that. Answer done. And I think that in terms of that being gameplay, I think that's like, you know, an extended demo at that time. I agree with that.
Yeah.
And when do you see this game coming out?
After Spider-Man 2. Easily
no
after
doubt. No, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. That's like,
Maybe,
that's all but confirmed. But you gotta be a bit more specific.
Late 2024, I'd say.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm going to say March 2024. That's what I'm going to say. You know,
Okay.
I'm absolutely never going to remember I said that here buried in this video. But
Thursday, the 18th. No, I doubt Thursday. Okay, just Thursday, March 2024. Some Thursday then.
Yeah, I you know, it was one day. Maybe I'll stumble upon. I definitely won't. I'll never remember I said this, but it'd be awesome if I were right. You know what I mean? It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I think that sounds about right. I think that makes sense.
Okay, sure.
We discussed the thing. I'm excited for this game. Daniel, give me a hype meter out of 10 on this game.
Out of 10?
Yeah.
7 scratch marks out of 10, I'd say.
Cool. Yep.
Yeah.
How do you get 7 though? Like, can he retract one blade in and not the other 3? So, like, he obviously has 3.
I mean scratch marks. Okay. Okay. How many ribs are there? 7 adamantium ribs out of 10. I don't know.
That was so bad. I'm definitely cutting that out. I'm definitely
Yeah. It's for the best.